Welcome back to our show. I'm so thrilled to introduce our two guests today. We have Betty Liedtke, founder of Find Your Buried Treasure, joining us today. Hi, Betty.
Thank you. Hi.
And then we also have Tabitha Kyambadde. She is the founder of African Missions Outreach. Thank you for joining us, Tabitha.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And Tabitha and Betty are going to talk a little bit about young girls trapped in poverty and prostitution in Uganda. So if you could start, Betty, tell us a little bit about the project.
Okay, the way it got started was we were already planning a trip to Uganda for some leadership conferences that Tabitha had arranged. And while we were getting ready for that trip, she read an article in a Uganda newspaper about this place near Kampala, the capital of Uganda, where it's a small village, more of a slum, and many of the people living there were young girls who were working as prostitutes and selling themselves for the equivalent of 30 or 40 cents, because that's the only way that they could survive and feed their own children.
Could you say what you mean by young girls? What was the age?
Some of them were teenagers, many of them in their 20s.
Okay.
And Tabitha sent me a copy of the newspaper article by email and added the note that when we go to Uganda, you and I need to go visit this place. And we did, and we spent several hours there visiting the girls and talking with them. And when we left, our hearts just broke. They could have been our daughters. They were just such amazing girls in such desperate situation. And as we left, we said, we've got to do something to get them out of there. We didn't know what, we didn't know how, but we knew that we had to do that, and that's how our dream and our mission got born.
Wow. And so, Tabitha, is that how you started the African Missions Outreach, or how did African Missions Outreach get involved with this initiative or this project?
Well, the reason why I had started African Missions Outreach was to try to reach the unreached, educate them, and give them some of the privileges that they don't get. But along the way, when I met these girls, they fitted very well in that group, and I decided I think that I should concentrate with the girls rather than any other person.
And so you were already preparing a trip to Uganda for leadership opportunities. Tell us a little bit about how you selected Uganda. How were you connected with the country to start with before you even met the girls?
That's easy. Tabitha grew up in Uganda, and she lives here now, but all of her family is still there. And we met and just got to know each other, just got to be really good friends really quickly, and started planning some amazing things. Actually, the plans started happening and kind of visited themselves on us. We had no idea what we were going to be getting into.
Isn't that usually how great things are born? You just sort of
Absolutely.
step out there, and next thing you know, you're saving hundreds of people or making impact on so many lives.
Hope so.
That's amazing. So tell us exactly what you're doing with this project. Tell us what you're doing with these girls. Tell us how you're selecting the girls. I want to know more about what you're doing over there, because it sounds like great work.
Yeah, we started by building relationships with these girls so that they could get comfortable and be able to tell us their stories, because they have been let down so many times and they just don't trust anybody. So for the past 2 years, we have just been building the relationships which we have now. Then our next step is to build a miracle village. And the miracle village will have a business for them to work in, which is not prostitution, and it will have a school for their kids to go, a rehabilitation center to rehabilitate the kids and the parents emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And so many other things as we progress, as funds will allow us to do that.
So when you said Miracle Village, is it a different place you're getting them moved to, or is it inside the same village?
No, not at all. It's a different place, and they don't even want to live in that same place because of the memories that they have in that particular place.
It's nice that you're getting them out of there to a different location where they can really feel
very
like
good.
they're taking that first step to get away from that life. Am I right?
Yes, sure.
And that was their choice. That's not something that we decided we're going to do. We talked with them on, well, first of all, did they want to to
Yes,
leave, or were
this-
they
yes,
happy doing what they're doing, or were they there of choice? And of course, they really weren't, and they wanted to be out of there and as far away from there as they could be. So one of the things that we've done at the different trips that we've been in Uganda is look at different areas and different pieces of land and things that are available. Because this really did start out, we just said, we've got to do this, and maybe we can do this, and maybe we can do this. And all of a sudden, it's this miracle village of hope and healing, because they have so many needs, physical and emotional, and then practical as well. We can't just take them out and put them
Yes.
someplace else and say, okay,
I
here's where
know,
you can
that's
live,
true.
have a great time, you know, life's gonna be done. So much needs to be done, but we're working with them and asking them what they would want and what their needs are. And they are so humble in what they're asking for and what they hope for. And most of the time, what they say has more to do with their children than with them. They want to take care of their children and get them educated and out of that life that they're living in.
How many girls are involved in this, Tabitha?
We have more than 75 girls.
75, okay.
Wow.
And are their parents there with them
You
then?
know, Kyambadde is a small town, and this has been like a generational thing. So you find that the grandmother was a prostitute, the mother was a prostitute, and then the daughter is a prostitute, and now their kids are also looking to the same career. So we are trying to break a generation
Sure.
process that has been going on. So we want it to stop with these girls that we are rescuing and start a new generation.
So do you provide any kind of education to them to make their living, or what kind of support do you give?
Now, when you say education, are you talking about general education or skills
because-
training?
Yes, when they move to a new place, they need something to, to do their living, right? So what are the things that you provide first?
Well, we're going to be providing education, schools for that, but also skills training and different opportunities that they have to earn money. Now, Uganda is one of the poorest countries in the world, but it is so rich in fertile land, and they have a much longer growing season than we do here in Minnesota. And so there are a number of opportunities of things that the girls can do and that can be started without a great deal of time or resources, because we don't have a lot of time or resources in getting started. And it breaks our heart every time we're there that we can't get them out right now. It was October of 2011 was our first trip there, and there are so many things that we've done and so many things that have happened and so many angels and miracles that have come into our lives, but yet we haven't been able to physically get any of the girls out of there yet, and we're actually hoping that that's going to be happening before the end of this year with our next trip there, but there's still so many things that need to happen.
I have a question now. I'm half Ugandan. My mother's from Uganda, and I'm very familiar with part of my culture. So how is it coming back into the culture, like being shamed? Are people feeling shamed?
Yeah.
You know,
Good question.
being once prostitutes, and how, you know what I mean? Okay.
Yes,
That's my
yes,
question.
and we've talked about that a lot, because if there's one word that means the most to the both of us, it's respect. And we are so protective of those girls. Even the word prostitute sticks in our throat, because there are girls. And that's how we see them, and that's how we know them. But the reality is of what they've been doing, and that's the only life they know, and that's how other people are going to be looking on them to a degree as well. So building in them self-respect and dignity, and I can't even say restoring respect and dignity, because many of them have never known it.
Exactly.
And no one should have to live like that.
Exactly.
One of the questions I have, it's the nurse in me, I guess, is my concern would be about the sexually transmitted diseases and HIV. How extensive is that? Are the girls and the perpetrators of the abuse using condoms? What's involved with that? Are the girls able to get checked at all for any of these sexually transmitted diseases and get treated? I'm sure they must be rampant.
Yeah, it is, that is a difficult place to explain, because the girls are trying to make money, and the men don't want to use the condoms or any other way to protect themselves from getting diseases. So it's a choice they make. You either go hungry or you take the risk. So most of the time they do take the risk, and so many of them are sick, and some of them are not sick, but those with treatable diseases sometimes do not have access to the health care that they need, and it just eventually becomes chronic. But the government is also doing a good job of creating awareness of all those different diseases, and there are some volunteer organizations that are trying to give them the basic attention they need for certain diseases. Yeah.
I'm just surprised as to why don't they have any other source of earnings? Don't they have any other thing other than prostitution? I'm still not able to get that. There should be some other way to
Yeah, Uganda is a very poor country, and a lot of them, I should say 99% of them are illiterate. They have never been to school.
Okay.
They don't even know anything, and that is where they are. That is what they know. That is what they have grown up seeing. So,
You know,
Go
I
ahead.
was just going to say, we so appreciate you, Tabitha, and you, Betty, for joining us today and sharing so much about the groundbreaking work that you're doing with the 75 girls. As we wrap up, Tabitha, could you share with us, if people want more information on the African Missions Outreach, could you share your website or how they can get in touch with you and your organization?
yeah, our website is www.amooUSA.org, and you can email us. We have an email address there. We have a way to contact us anytime. We always respond to all people who have questions.
Okay, that is so, and can you just repeat that? Was
AMOUSA.org.
and what does it stand for something?
It stands for African Missions Outreach Organization USA.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much do you think you have accomplished so far, and where do you want to get from here?
Well, we've accomplished not nearly as much as we want to and need to, but even from the first time that Tabitha went back after our first time there, she was upset because she didn't have anything to take, any solid things. But she came back and said, Betty, you will not believe how much of a difference there is in the girls, because we've given them hope. And they know that we're not going to let them down and we're not going to leave them. So
When's your next
That's
trip?
what-
Yeah,
given-
I was going to ask that.
August,
Who can volunteer? How can you be a part of it?
we can talk as soon as the show is over.
Well, thank you again. I so appreciate it. Thank you for giving hope to those girls that have
Definitely.
known only pain in their community. So thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for taking the time to educate us and our viewers on your topic. And thank you for watching us today. Join us next time on It's a Woman's World.